What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and today I'm going to be talking about all of my Blu-ray pickups from the month of June. I actually have a pretty good stack here, so I'm excited to talk about some of these titles. I have some older releases as well as some new releases, so you'll see what I have as I go through them, and definitely hit the like button. Consider commenting down below what you picked up this month. I would be interested to hear that and have a discussion because I know we all love collecting Blu-rays. Who doesn't? There's just something so addicting about them, but without further ado, I'll go ahead and get right into what I picked up. First up, I have a movie that was on the 100 Movies I Missed list, so I just recently watched it, and that is Old School, directed by Todd Phillips. And this movie stars Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, and Luke Wilson, I want to say? Yeah, Luke, Owen Wilson's brother. But this movie's hilarious to me. I think that it's going to become one of my new favorite comedies in years to come. I can definitely see myself watching this with all my friends. It's just my type of humor, and I love Vince Vaughn in this movie especially. I think he's so funny. It's crazy that Todd Phillips went on to get nominated for Best Director for Joker after he did movies like this and The Hangover. He really had the comedy background, and now he's doing more serious stuff, and that seems to be the trend nowadays, and I'm not upset by it because Joker's a great movie, and Old School is a great movie. Next up, we have Castaway, a fantastic Tom Hanks performance. This man can do no wrong in my eyes. He's one of the best working actors ever, period. Not only is he Forrest Gump, but he's also in this movie. And he becomes friends with the volleyball. Wilson is one of the best scenes ever from this movie. I actually watched this for the first time in health class in high school. I don't even remember what we learned about with regards to health. It's this story about one guy who gets isolated on an island, so it's not very fun, but the movie is a good time. I am entertained when I watch this movie because it's really just one man's journey to try and survive on this island, and I like isolation type movies. If you like the movie The Martian with Matt Damon, which came out a few years ago, I definitely recommend Castaway if you have not seen it. I think that Tom Hanks probably should have won an Oscar, honestly, because he really has to go to a dark place as he is stranded on this island and his mind starts to go insane. He really starts to lose it, and you see this throughout the movie, and then the way it ends is just perfect to me, so I love Castaway. Can't wait to give this one a rewatch soon. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Next up, I actually have a movie collection, and that is the Saw collection, 1 through 7. The first Saw movie is the only one I've seen, and I absolutely loved it. I did not expect to at all. I had been putting it off for years, but my girlfriend actually pushed me to watch this movie. She was like, trust me, it's not overdoing the gore and the torture. It's just more of a contained thriller. And so when I went into it, I had those expectations, and I had a blast. If you like the movie Reservoir Dogs, where it's contained in one location, and it kind of flashes back to events before the film started, that's what this movie essentially is, but there is a little bit of mystery to it in a way. And it's directed by James Wan, written by Leigh Whannell, who did The Invisible Man, he did Upgrade, so this is like the start for all these guys, James Wan especially. I love this movie. I've seen it twice now, the first Saw. I plan to watch 2 through 7, the rest of the Saw movies that come in this set, with my girlfriend because she's seen them all and she actually watches them with like a commentary track, so they're not as like cheesy as they get on, because I've heard that the first 3 are the only really good ones, and after that they get kind of way too over the top and full of themselves in a way, especially with like the torture aspects. So I'll probably watch the later ones with the commentary track as well, but I'm happy to pick this up. It was super cheap. It was only like $12 at Best Buy, so that's about how much the first Saw movie costed alone, so I was like, I might as well pick up the whole entire set. And the last 2 movies that I have are both new releases. They came out, I think, a few months ago on Blu-ray, but the first one is The Gentleman, directed by Guy Ritchie. I had a fun time with this movie, I really did. My brother introduced me to it, and I didn't see this one in theaters, but I didn't really know what to expect. I know it had Matthew McConaughey as one of my favorite actors, but the movie itself is a ton of fun, a very clever, contained story. Guy Ritchie has this unique style to him, especially with his dialogue and the way that his stories are told, that is just so unique, and you kind of piece the puzzle together as it goes along. It's not until the very end that you really have a full idea of what's happening, but then you realize Guy Ritchie has a pretty masterful mind, and the way that he works through stories, very creative. The scene stealer for me was Colin Farrell. I think he's absolutely hilarious in this movie. Hugh Grant is really good, so is Charlie Hunnam. The cast all around is just loaded. Like I said, a very unique story. I can't wait to rewatch this one soon. And the last movie that I picked up in this month's haul is probably my favorite movie of the year. The Invisible Man, directed by Leigh Whannell, who I mentioned earlier as the writer of Saw. Yeah, well, he directed this movie, and it's fantastic. The way that he uses the fear of what we can't see really digs deep into ourselves and creates this fear because we can't see the Invisible Man for most of this movie, and it's very creepy because that makes it more scary. If you were to see this guy the whole time, your mind would just be like, oh, I'm not scared of that. But because you can't see what's going on, it really messes with your mind. And I think Elizabeth Moss is the front runner for Best Actress as of right now. I know there haven't been that many movies that have come out, but I would love to see her get an Oscar nominee because she's fantastic in this movie, to say the least. The cast all around is really good in their supporting roles, but there's some twists and turns in this movie that seriously like had me shook. My jaw dropped at one in particular that I was like, they really just did that. So I mean, this movie has those moments. So if you're looking for like a thriller that has some horror elements, it's not full-blown horror, but a very like edge of your seat thriller that will have some jump scares, I highly recommend The Invisible Man. I think it's one of the best written movies of the year, and Leigh Whannell, I can't wait to see what this man does next because he has made some great movies and he's a great writer as well. So major props to him and The Invisible Man, my favorite movie of the year so far. Yeah, so those are all the movies that I picked up in the month of June. I hope you guys enjoy these haul videos. They're probably like my favorite videos to do, if I'm being honest, because they're just laid back. I get to talk about Blu-rays that I buy, and I love buying Blu-rays, so I love these videos. But yeah, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel because it would mean a lot. The continued growth has just been so awesome, and if you're new here, thank you so much for subscribing. It really does mean the world. I've got a lot of videos planned in the future, as well as my weekly live streams and a ton of collabs planned. Definitely consider hitting that like button, commenting what you picked up down below, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.